Hello students, welcome to All Foods e-learning. So we completed the reflection of light by playing mirrors so far with the different concepts. Now we are shifting on another part, which is reflection of light from spherical mirrors. Of course, there are different types of curved mirrors. So one type is paraboloidal, and other type is ellipsoidal, and third one is cylindrical, and fourth one is spherical. So we have different types of curved mirrors, by which we can also get different results whenever the light is reflecting from curved mirrors. But even then, let us restrict or limit our discussion to the spherical mirrors, because the spherical mirrors part was given in our syllabus. Therefore, our discussion is limited to the spherical mirrors. Okay, when we go for spherical mirrors, the spherical mirror is of two types. One is concave mirror, which is known as converging mirror. Another one is convex mirror, which is also known as diverging mirror. What does it mean, converging and diverging? So it is very simple. The meaning itself is given in the name. The light ray is incident on the spherical mirror. What happens here? The light after reflection, they will be converges to a point. So whenever a spherical mirror is collecting the light rays and focusing at a point, therefore this mirror is taken to be converging mirror, because all the light rays are collecting and focus at a point. Therefore it is called converging mirror. That is also known as concave mirror. And other one is, whenever a light rays, parallel beam of light even, whatever the light ray that is incident on the spherical mirror, after reflection the light rays are diverging from it. The light ray is incident on the spherical mirror. After reflection they are diverging. Therefore, the mirror is said to be diverging mirror. So basically, the definition of concave mirror in general, how its structure will be there. How can we imagine that concave mirror and convex mirror? So concave mirror is a spherical mirror which, when seen from the reflecting side, so it is depressed at the middle and bulging at the edges. So here depressing at the middle when we seen from the reflecting side. See here, these dots are giving silvering or painting. We painted over this surface. So this painted surface is not giving any reflection. The reflection is only giving by other side. Okay, so the painting side is not giving reflection. Keep in your mind. Therefore, every time when you are taking the spherical mirror, on one side we are taking the dotted lines. Okay, roughness is giving, that is paint. So on that side there is no question of reflection. Therefore, so concave mirror is a spherical mirror which, when seen from incident ray or reflecting side, so middle portion is depressed and edges are bulging. Such kind of mirror is known as concave mirror. And convex mirror is, it is a spherical mirror which, when seen from reflecting side, this is the reflecting side, it is painting side, silvering side. Therefore, which, when seen from the reflecting side, the middle portion is bulging and the edges are depressed. Such kind of spherical mirror is known as diverging mirror. As a whole, we have two types of spherical mirrors. One is concave mirror or converging mirror. Other one is diverging mirror, which is known as convex mirror. Okay, let us move on another part. Actually, so many technical words, terms which we use often in this part. So while getting the image distance and solving the problems related to spherical mirrors, so those terms, their meaning should be known for a student, one who get the commanding over the part of spherical mirrors while solving the problems. Therefore, we should discuss some technical terms related to spherical mirrors. Let us see those terms. Okay? Now, okay. So these are the terms related to spherical mirrors. See, these are the very important terms, technical words. Okay. So center of curvature. It is the center of a sphere of which mirror is a part. So what is the meaning of it? Let us consider a sphere and its center, say C, in which we consider a mirror is a part. Now this is known as center of curvature. If you take the line which is outward from this circle or outward from this sphere, and it is always perpendicular to the surface, anywhere you take, normal, anywhere. Therefore, we consider a horizontal line which is passing through center of curvature. This is also normal. Therefore, here in this sphere, a part is a spherical mirror, and which is taken out. This is the part of the sphere of which mirror is a part. It is the part of the sphere which is a mirror, and this is center of the sphere. That center of the sphere which is taken to be center of curvature of this spherical part, which is act as a mirror. Therefore, this is a line drawn which is normal. This is center of curvature of the spherical mirror. Once again, I will give the definition. That center of curvature means it is the sphere of which a mirror is a part. Okay, this is center of curvature. Keep in your mind, every time when you are taking the line from center of curvature to outside anywhere on the spherical mirror, definitely it is normal to the spherical mirror. Okay, this is a very important point. Next, go for pole. Pole is a midpoint of the spherical mirror through which principal axis passing. Means, I will show in this diagram. This is the pole. This is the midpoint of the spherical mirror through which principal axis passing is known as pole of the spherical mirror. Okay, this is second one. Third one is principal axis. What is principal axis? The line which is passing through center of curvature and pole of the spherical mirror is known as principal axis. See here, this is a spherical mirror, okay, and it has a center of curvature C, and it has pole P, and these two, pole and the center of curvature, joining by a line, straight line, which is taken to be principal axis. This is principal axis of the spherical mirror. Okay. Next, go for another one, radius of curvature. So what is radius of curvature? It's very simple. From center of the sphere up to the surface of the sphere, this is the radius of the sphere. Here it is also radius. It is also radius. And similarly, from center of the sphere to the surface, it is giving the radius of the sphere. In this case, center to the surface, which is a radius, known as radius of curvature, which is known as radius of curvature. This is spherical mirror, this is center C, and this is spherical mirror. Now enamel is drawn to this surface. This is meet at the center of curvature. Either this is radius or this is also radius. You are taking this as radius, this as radius. So this C2P is taken to be a radius of curvature. Okay. So next, principal focus. What is principal focus? It is a point on the principal axis of spherical mirror at which the light rays are focusing after reflection or appear to be diverged from it. Once again I repeat, consider a concave spherical mirror. See, now a parallel beam of light is incident on this mirror. After reflection, the light ray is focusing or passing through a point which is taken to be principal focus. Means it is a point on the principal axis of the spherical mirror where the light rays are converges or appear to be diverged from it when a parallel beam of light is incident which is parallel to the principal axis. See, if you go for another one, convex spherical mirror. In case of convex spherical mirror, the light ray incident on it. After reflection, the light ray appear to be diverged from a point which is on the principal axis of the spherical mirror, which is known as convex mirror. Then this is taken to be principal focus. Therefore, in both the cases, in case of concave mirror, in case of convex mirror, so both the cases we have principal focus points. For them, again we are giving the common definition for those two spherical mirrors. That is, this principal focus is the point on the principal axis of spherical mirrors, whether it is concave or convex, where the light rays are converges or appear to be diverged from it when a parallel beam parallel to the principal axis incident on the spherical mirrors. This is known as principal focus. Next, focal length. It's a very simple. So this is the distance between the focus point and the pole of the spherical mirror. The distance between principal focus and pole of the spherical mirror is defined as focal length. The distance taken to be focal length. Okay, focal length which can be measured in centimeters or meters. Even radius of curvature measured in meters or centimeters. Okay, it's over. Next, focal plane. What is the meaning of focal plane? It is a plane passing through principal focus and perpendicular to principal axis. Why we are taking this focal plane? What is the need of it? Under which circumstances we can see this focal plane? See here, in this case, parallel beam of light is incidenting on the spherical mirror. But this parallel beam, that is parallel to the principal axis. Okay, whenever the beam is parallel, which is parallel to the principal axis and incident on the spherical mirror, after reflection, they will be focused at a point which definitely on the principal axis. Principal axis. But here in this case, when we consider a parallel beam of light, sometimes, suppose this is a concave mirror, a parallel beam of light is incidenting on this spherical mirror. But there is a difference between these two cases. Here it is parallel beam, here also parallel beam. What is big difference between these two? Here parallel beam parallel to the principal axis. Here parallel beam is not parallel to principal axis. So here beam is parallel, but it is not parallel to principal axis. Then after reflection, definitely these light rays will be focused at a point. So that focus point and its corresponding image is giving a plane which is taken to be focal plane. That is the need of focal plane. Means the focal plane is passing through principal focus. Of course, it is principal focus. This is the focal plane. Okay. Now a plane is passing through principal focus and perpendicular to principal axis, where the light rays are focused in this plane and corresponding image is giving over here after reflection. Okay. Now here, whenever the light rays are parallel to each other, now these light rays are incident on the spherical mirror, and after reflection they will come to focus at a point. Those points are the focus point, means the point where the light rays are focusing or converging or meeting. That point will lie on the plane. That plane is passing through principal focus and perpendicular to principal axis, which is known as focal plane. And focal plane, anywhere the image can be seen, even if the parallel beam of light is incident on it. But one more important point I would like to reveal here. One is, here the parallel beam is incident on the spherical mirror parallel to the principal axis. So in this case, object is assumed at infinity. Wherever we consider the parallel beam of light, and definitely the object position will be at infinity. Object is at infinity, under which the incident light is taken to be parallel beam. Here in this case, object is at infinity. In this case, object is infinity. When object is infinity, definitely the image will formed either at focus point or in the focal plane. Its image formed either at focus point or in the focal plane. So that is the need of focal plane. Even sometimes the parallel beam of light, which may not be parallel to the principal axis, under which after reflection the light rays are meeting at a point where the image is giving, that image will be fall or presented in the plane which is known as focal plane. Next go for another one, aperture. Last one, aperture. So what is meaning of aperture? It is the diameter of circular outline of the spherical mirror. This is a spherical mirror. So this diameter is said to be aperture. It is the diameter of circular outline of the spherical mirror, known as aperture. So these terms are often used while solving the problems, and we should know the meaning of each and every point which are given in this part. Okay, right, let us move on another part. So we will discuss that regarding the magnification and its supporting points. Okay, please. Yeah, before going to make a discussion over magnification, so let us finish the two more points, that marginal rays and paraxial rays. So what is the meaning of marginal rays? The rays which are incidenting on the spherical mirror, which are far away from the principal axis. Such rays are marginal rays. So they are incidenting at the margin of the spherical mirror. It's very clear. The meaning itself is saying marginal rays, means the rays which are incidenting at the margin. Therefore they are taken to be marginal rays. Okay. And second point is paraxial rays. So paraxial rays means the light rays which are going to incident on the spherical mirror, which are very close to the principal axis. Such rays are known as paraxial rays. Means whenever the light rays are incidenting on the spherical mirror, we will distinguish two types of light rays which are incidenting on the spherical mirror. Some rays are falling on the spherical mirror far away from the principal axis, and some rays are incidenting on the spherical mirror which are closer to the principal axis. The rays which are incidenting closer to the principal axis taken to be paraxial rays, and the rays which are far away from the principal axis which are incidenting on the spherical mirror taken to be marginal rays. Okay, right, it's very clear, marginal rays and paraxial rays. So what are the results? Okay, we discussed regarding this. This is marginal ray, this is paraxial ray. Then what is the result? So here in this case, marginal rays, in case of spherical mirrors, after reflection, these light rays may not pass through focus point. So after reflection, generally it is a misconception in lower classes. So the student will have a knowledge that in lower class this part was finished, I think. The light rays after reflection, whenever incident on the concave mirror, after reflection, the light ray passes through principal focus. Okay, it is correct statement, nothing wrong, but the condition is taken into account. What condition? Here, reflected ray must pass through the principal focus. That is possible whenever incident ray is paraxial. Otherwise, the light ray after reflection never pass through this principal focus. That is wrong statement. So this is misconception. Don't think of every time the incidenting rays, whether they are marginal or paraxial rays. In all the cases, the student will misguide here. After reflection, the reflected ray passes through principal focus. No, wrong. That is only possible when paraxial rays are incidenting on the spherical mirror. After reflection, they must pass through principal focus, whereas the light rays which are incidenting far away, they are the marginal rays. So after reflection, they never pass through principal focus. Then what happens here generally, how we can understand? Say this is marginal ray. It is passing from somewhere. Say sometimes the reflected ray may pass through pole also, pole of the spherical mirror. Nothing wrong. It can also pass beyond the pole if angle of incidence increases more and more. That is above the marginal and extremely light rays incidenting on the spherical mirror. Okay. Now in such case, the reflected ray may pass beyond the pole of the spherical mirror. Okay. Now it is possible. The reflected ray passes through pole. Of course, here paraxial ray. I am taking in the same diagram paraxial ray. Paraxial ray is taking over here. So after reflection, it is passing through principal focus. It passes through principal focus. Okay. If we take the limits for our convenience in order to understand what is happening there. So this is pole and this is focus point.